All right, guys. I think we are officially live. At least it says we are. So hopefully we are. And it looks like we are. Happy President's Day. Yes, it is President's Day. So it's funny. We were just talking, my daughter and some of her friends, and some of her friends still have school and some don't. So yeah. So happy President's Day. All right. So today, what are we going to be talking about? Well, I'm going to be talking about something that a lot of people suffer from. And I would say, you know, over the years, I'm turning off my notifications because it just reminded me that I'm live. Uh, over the years, have I suffered from it? And I would say probably yes. Um, but that is, overthinking it, right? Like sometimes we just overthink because, we're like, well, you know, I don't know. I mean, I need to figure everything out before I actually do it. And it's easier to kind of still keep in that research phase or stay in that phase versus, um, you know, let's, uh, let's just kind of work on one thing at a time. And so I did a coaching call. It was last week or the week before. And when I did that call, I got off and I said, man, we need to address this because I know that this person is not the only person, because I see it a lot where people ask questions about things that do not even matter at this point. Uh, and they're worrying about things that they don't have to worry about. And they're starting to overthink things. And when they overthink things, it makes you slow down or sometimes stop. So that's what I want to talk about here today. I would love it if you would, if you're here live or even in the comments later on the replay, if you either do currently or if you have in the past suffer from overthinking it and and really zooming out a little bit and just looking at where you are right now, like what are you stuck on? And is that something that you should be stuck on? Because maybe you shouldn't even be focusing on that. So I'd be curious. Drop that in the comments. All right. And yeah, let's go ahead and get rocking and rolling here. This will be our Monday mindset. And I'm going to pull up my little notes here just so I have it. And yeah, so we're going to be basically talking about avoiding that overthinking thing. All right, guys. So here we go. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Monday Mindset. And today we are going to kick things off with, I think, something that holds a lot of people back. And it's something that could really prevent you from ever getting started or growing, getting results. And that is overthinking, like overthinking things that do not have to be thought about that in depthly. I mean, to be quite honest, a lot of times what's happening is we're getting stuck in things that we shouldn't be getting stuck on. And one of the reasons most likely is because you're either a worrier, which, hey, we all do it. I mean, I've done that. Like, what if, like you run down that road of like, what if, what if, what if? And then what happens is you start putting all of these roadblocks in front of you that might not ever happen. So that's one side of it. But a lot of times it's just a protective thing that we have, right? That we're wired with, that we have. And some people more than others. But what happens is we start overthinking everything, right? Before we start the project, we got to make sure that we know everything about the project. So that way there, when we get to that spot, we're prepared for it. When in reality, yes, we need to know how to put everything together somewhat, but we know that as we build this thing, things are going to probably change. I mean, and this happens in the construction world all the time, right? You start to build the property and then all of a sudden you see that there's something that's going to get in your way or something that came up, or maybe there's a change in the plans because of code, or maybe there was a change in the plans because you had a change to the bedroom or a change to a bathroom that you wanted to do a little bit differently. And then you have to remodify the blueprints, and then that requires maybe an engineer. And so all of these things can happen, but we don't have to worry about that yet. We got to get the foundation built, and we got to start putting up the walls and the subfloor and all of that stuff before we can even put in the plumbing. But a lot of people will want to know, like, well, what plumbing should I do? Like, what pipes should I use? What happens if I use 2 inch and I should be using 3 inch, which you would know if you follow the blueprint. But like things like that, like what's better? Is it better to use a plastic pipe or a copper pipe? Like we don't need to worry about that yet, right? And most likely the blueprint will already have what we need anyway. We just have to get there. And so I was going through this coaching call the other day. I had a coaching call with a gentleman, and he was down the road of asking questions about things that we did not have to worry about yet or even consider making the decision because we weren't there yet. And to kind of give you an example of what that would look like. So let's say that you're going to be building one of these niche properties that we talk about. You're going to be building one. And this happens in all phases though. It could be in you're already up and running and now you're writing content and now you're thinking to yourself, should I be optimizing the content further? When should I be optimizing the content? So all of these things start to come in after you're up and running. But let's just say that you are or you're not up and running. And you're thinking to yourself, which I did a whole list of questions on Friday's jam session, which there's a lot of these questions that are good questions, but these questions shouldn't have been asked yet in some cases because we haven't even picked a niche yet. Like why are we worrying about what theme we're going to use if we have not picked our niche yet? Like, why are we going to be thinking about our domain name if we haven't picked our niche yet? Right. But a lot of times you start going down the road, but when I am ready, what theme do I want to use? So then you spend 3 hours looking at themes in WordPress, when if you just went back to the blueprint, the one that we give you in our niche properties class, you're going to know to use Generate Press and just get that thing up and running. And we can always repaint it later. We can always, re-up the theme or, renew a different one or add a different one, test a different one with a few clicks. And I'm using painting because if it's like, well, I don't know exactly what color I want this room to be. Well, if you can't decide, we still have to get this thing ready. So just paint it white for right now. And then we'll just come in later and we'll repaint it another color. But we got to get this thing painted because we got to get the thing rented, right? So a lot of times we are thinking about things that are holding us up because we're overthinking it, okay? So what I want you to do for this, this session, all right, is I want you to zoom out for a minute. I want you to literally I want you to pretend like you're zooming out of your life right now of what you're working on, right? Like you're zooming out and you can kind of see yourself working and you're like, okay, what am I working on and what am I stuck on right now? And then you need to ask yourself, is that something that I should be making a decision about right now? And if you're like, well, no, I'm actually worrying about a website and I haven't picked my niche yet. So now what we have to do is we have to then zoom back in on only the area that we should be focusing on and the step that needs to be done right now, because then the next step is going to be very clear, because once we get that done, now we move into the next part of this build or this thing. Okay. Because this works for anything in life, not just building a niche property. I'm using that because most people that are listening, watching are building a niche property or building a brand. And this pertains to them. So you can kind of understand it. So again, let's kind of go through this process real quick. Let's say you're starting from scratch. All right. And you're following this blueprint that I'm giving you. Okay. Very simple. Pick the niche, do the validation. Okay. So discover the niche, go through, do some validation. Once that box is checked, now we move into, okay, what's going to be the domain name? We're going to go through that little situation there where we're going to be, okay, let's go through some brainstorming. Let's go through some trademark searching. Let's spend a day there. We're going to pick that. Then we're going to go buy our hosting. And again, if you follow the blueprint, we'll give you our resources, and I'll just give you those right now. The ones that I recommend, it's like HostGator or SiteGround. Right now, we like SiteGround. There it is, done. Install WordPress, very simple. You go through that process of doing that. It's simple, not hard. A lot of these host sites have these quick little installs that you can do. Pick a theme, use Generate Press. That's basically what we would use, and get it up and running. Like that's the steps, right? It's like, so I don't have to worry about the web hosting until I actually have my niche picked, where I'm going to be having my domain name, and then I'm going to be needing a host, right? But a lot of people are like, okay, I don't know my niche. I don't even have the domain name because I don't have my niche, but I'm worrying about my hosting. What hosting am I going to use? How am I going to install WordPress? What theme should I use, right? What colors should I use? Who cares at this point? Right now, it could just be black and white. Doesn't matter. Okay. We have to get those pieces done first. But what happens is people start overthinking these areas, feeling as though they have to make that decision that's going to last for a lifetime. It's not, right? Like right now, we have on a few of our niche properties, we don't even have a homepage. All we have is like recent posts, the most recent post. That's it. And we've had those for years, like 2.5 years, 3 years. One of them's like 3 years. Don't even have a homepage yet. You know why? Because it's just not that important. Most of the traffic's coming to all of these other external pages, posts, and that's where the traffic's coming from. So they never see the homepage anyway. So why am I going to spend days, months, or lots of money having someone design a fancy homepage? But a lot of times we want our site to look pretty because we want to be proud of it. It's great. Okay. Be proud of the traffic that you're getting because you're creating content and you have something that's built. We can tweak it later. We can add shutters later on the front of the house. We can add some curb appeal, right? We don't need to do that now, right? We just need to get the house presentable. So this way here we can actually have people in there and they can sleep, right? And I'm using the, digital real estate kind of analogy, but you understand what I'm saying. So if you are listening and you are one that overthinks things, stop. All right. Stop. I'm going to say this in the most nicest way that I can. You have to stop, because if you don't, you will not move forward and you will be stuck, or you'll never move forward, or you'll just stop completely and you just won't do it. And you'll be like, you know what? That just wasn't for me because I couldn't fill in the blank. And the reason why was because you were overthinking things and you didn't actually move through getting it actually done. Right. So we have to take those action steps in order for us to get a result. We know that. Right. But if we're stuck on some of these things that don't even matter because we're here, we're moving forward before we're actually moving forward. Right. So we have to do these steps in order to get the thing built, so we can start adding content, so we can start doing those things. We can't even optimize the content fully after 6 months until it's been out there for 6 months. Right? We got to wait a little bit. It's the other part of the process. So don't worry about fully, like, how am I going to make sure that my site has, all of the right SEO, all of the right optimization? You're never going to really know. You can just go by things that have worked in the past and then put it in play. Once we put it in play, then we have a chance to see where it's going to rank, and then we can decide what's our next move. All right. So hopefully this has helped you. This is something that I wanted to share because I know that a lot of people struggle here. We overthink, right? We overthink and we stay in this research, or we stay in this, I got to figure out that step before I can do this step. And a lot of times that's not the case. So the homework is this: zoom out, look in at your own situation, right? From above. And then when you see where you should be focusing, zoom back in and only focus on that area until you're ready to move on to the next step. All right. So guys, that is your Monday mindset. Thanks so much for joining me. Hopefully this helped you. Now get out there, make it happen, and I'll see you right back here on the next episode. Now get out there, make it happen. Like I said, cut. All right, guys, what do you think? Let me see here. I'm going to go back and see if I can see any comments. Yes, we do have some comments. Here we go. Analysis paralysis is one of my biggest problems. Exactly. Yep. It happens to all of us. You're not alone. Let's see. I tend to overthink whenever something has a difference of opinions amongst experts. Well, that's, again, one thing, and I didn't bring that up, but you do have to you have to go with a vision of, and really someone that you feel as though, you know what, I'm going to focus on this one strategy, this one way. Okay. Cause there's hundreds of ways, right? There's hundreds, if not thousands of ways to do things. But you need to do what you feel is right and who resonates with you the most. And then you just go all in there. But you're right. If you're going to start pulling from different experts, you could get confused, and then that could be self-doubt, or you're doubting your decisions and all of that stuff. So that's where it can get a little funky there. Russ says, yes, I do. Always overthinking things. Well, we got to change that. We got to change it. Let's see. 100% overthinking. Don't know how to reach my goal, so don't even start. Been doing this over 6 years. The easiest thing for you to do, man, is sit down, piece of paper, write out your goal. Where are you headed? What are you trying to achieve? Right. And a lot of times people are going to start with a number, because that's their target number. But now you got to ask yourself, what's the vehicle that's going to get me to the number? Right. And the vehicle, I mean, like, what is, if it's I want to make an extra $1,000 per month and then possibly grow that later. What's that path look like? So if we're looking at a niche property, that's the vehicle. That's the vehicle that we're going to be using to get us to the $1,000. If it's that you want to build a different type of business, maybe you want to build a coaching business, or maybe you want to I don't know, maybe you want to grow an Etsy shop, or maybe you want to grow an eBay shop or whatever, right? But it's in a certain niche. What's it going to take to get consistent sales? So now you have to reverse back. Okay, so what is the target? What is the vehicle that's going to help you get there? And now what you have to do is you have to go back and say, okay, where do I have to, what do I have to do in order to get the vehicle up and running so I can work on the vehicle, right? The vehicle that's going to get me to where I need to go. And that's what you really need to do. Let's see here. Finding the balance between putting good thoughts and overthinking was my struggle. That's why it's important to narrow in one mentor or coach to get going. Yeah, I agree. That's why I'll be quite honest with you. I've done that for years. I've been at this over 20 years. And there's been a lot of gurus or experts that I followed that have taught me, and some good, some not so good. And I only subscribe myself personally, which now it's funny. A lot of these are my friends now, because I've learned, or over the years, I've learned from people that I've resonated with, and then I just happen to become friends with them because I'm in this space. And I had a podcast. I have a podcast, and I've had some of them on. So yeah, and it's like over the years I've unsubscribed from people that either it's not because they were bad people, it just wasn't the direction I was going in, right? And I've had people that years ago when I was 100% focused on the Amazon side of things, which I was doing, and I'm still in the e-commerce space. I'm just not the Amazon focused guy anymore. But I lost some people from that, and that's totally fine. I basically told people, like, I was like, listen, I'm going to be transparent with you. I'm not going to be talking a lot about Amazon anymore because I sold my one business. The other ones that I was building, we kind of ran their course, and a couple of them we actually just basically handed off. But I'm not that I'm not that guy anymore. So you might want to go find an Amazon guy if you're still in the Amazon world. And I've got some recommendations for that, but I was honest, and the people that stayed, they're like, I like this path that you're going. I like the brand building. I like the niche properties thing. So you're right. You do have to know who you're following and why you're following them. And is it aligned with where you're going? Yeah, doing too many things at once and end up getting less done overall. 100%. That's why it is very important to be focused on what you are doing, where you're going, but then focusing on spending the time working, there. So let's see here. Another question. Do you map out your year and all your workshops at the beginning, targets per workshop? No, really don't, Salama. To be honest with you, maybe a quarter, maybe like one quarter, because things change. I want to be nimble. I want to be able to move. I don't want to be locked down to, I have to do that because I planned that out for a year. Now, are you going to have a revenue number and then you're going to have some targets to try to hit those? Yes. But for me, I don't want to be so rigid that everything is mapped out for the year. I do have targets, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to map out like, okay, when are my workshop dates going to be? Like right now, I don't have those dates. In my mind, I want to do probably one workshop a month now. I've done one a month since the beginning of the year. Yeah, I think so. We've done like one a month. I'm going to try to do one a month like I used to do because they work. People get educated by those, and people also join our class from that and join BCA. So I will do those, but not every week. And I didn't map out the dates yet. Like I don't even have the next one scheduled yet, which Chris and I are going to be talking about, probably going to be in the next couple of weeks. But no, I don't want to go that far down the road, right? I have the vehicles are there, right? The assets that I've built are there. And now I just decide, when am I going to promote what? Why am I going to promote it? When is a good time to promote it? Things like that. So I would not overthink that either. I would, for you, maybe just map out what your targets are and then figure out what's the next 30 days look like. So maybe that would help you. So I think that's it, guys. Good questions, though, by the way. And I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me on this Monday morning. But I'm gonna jump on out of here. I've got some work to do, so we're gonna go ahead and get some work done this Monday. Do a little bit of planning myself for the week. That's what I usually do, either Sunday or Monday. I'm going to do that next, and then I've got some of my niche property stuff that I have to do for the week, and that's it. All right, so guys, have a great day. And Wednesday we'll be back here for another coffee talk. And then Friday, we'll be back here with another Friday jam session. And we'll get this thing rocking and rolling. All right, guys, if you have any questions, let me know. And if you know someone that would enjoy hanging out with us in the mornings, make sure that you share this with them. All right, so guys, take care, take action. Talk to you soon. Bye, guys. Have a great day.